Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. It is July 7th. My name is Ashley Byer, and I'm a sales engineer here at Decisions. We're going to go ahead and give everybody just a few minutes to go ahead and come on in here. In the meantime, it doesn't look like we had any pre-submitted questions. So if you have any questions, make sure you go ahead and drop them in the chat or go ahead and post them in the Q&A section too. It does look like we have somebody join. Again, I just want to go ahead and introduce myself here. My name is Ashley Byer. Do you have any questions coming into this Lunch and Learn today? Or you just go ahead and here to see what else you can learn? If you don't have any questions, that's okay too. Like I said, we're just going to give people a few minutes to go ahead and jump in here. And then I'll actually go ahead and run through a few things inside of Decisions. All right, looks like we do have a question here. It says, can we rerun flow that populates dropdown instead of the repeater on the value change and dropdown outside of the repeater? It says it's coming from an anonymous attendee. Maru, is there a way we can see if we can take that person off mute maybe and see if we can go ahead and have them explain a little bit more?
I don't see the anonymous attendee anywhere, so I can't give them access to the microphone.
You're good, you're good. Can we rerun a flow that populates a dropdown inside of a repeater on the value change and dropdown of the repeater? All right, so what we're doing, it looks like, I'm going to go ahead and just take the information there. VT, in case this is your question, I'm going to go ahead and have you the ability to come off mute. We're going to go ahead and flip over into the studio here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my studio. I am on version 8. So if this is a different version that you're on, please go ahead and let me know inside either the chat or the Q&A there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with populating that form real quick so that we've got something here. And drop down outside of a repeater. Gotcha. So we need a value outside to affect the value inside. All right, so I want to call this value change on data repeater. So we're going to need a drop down out here. And then we're going to need a data repeater itself. So we're going to add a data repeater right here. Bring it over, and I'm going to go ahead and add in our add and remove buttons so we have those connected. And then real quick, our submit button. So we've got everything on the outside of the form here. All right, this drop down here, we're gonna do it on food because today I'm pretty hungry. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it by the places around me here. We're going to do some static data places. I know Taco Bell's right up the street. May not be the most healthy choice here. I think I have an Arby's right here by me, and then Sonic. And then I'm gonna go ahead and have inside this data repeater, we're gonna go ahead and build that guy out. So we're gonna go ahead and pick our create here, create a new little guy. And then this is going to be called my top choices. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and have it pre-populate different options for me here. We want it to go ahead and have a flow that populates drop down inside of a repeater on value change and drop down inside of a repeater. All right, so this drop down list here is going to be my choices. And then I'm gonna have my sides here. All right, the type here, we're gonna have to actually build out a data structure. Let's go back a step here. The hardest part that I always have is choosing a data structure because there's so many, and I've got to go through a list inside my head of what I want it to be like for the database structure. I'm going to choose an entity real quick, and we're just going to go ahead and call this choices. All right, what is it not liking? All right, so this is going to be my entree, and then we're going to have one for sides. All right, now that we've got it loaded, let's go back into our form here. Edit the source. Sorry. I will say I apologize. I'm a little rusty with data repeaters. It's been a hot minute since I've been in a data repeater here. I just need to go ahead and choose the entity it's coming from or the data structure it's coming from. So we're going to see if we can pick choices here. And then for this guy, we're going to do type. And it's going to be string value. There you go. Go for the flow. Inside this flow, I'm going to do a truth table. For the entrees here. And then we're going to create a new guy. I never said I was great at spelling, so I know the entree spelled wrong. I apologize. I don't remember exactly what I called the places, so I'm just gonna call this places or restaurants. So if the place is we've got three choices here. I'm gonna say if it's Taco Bell, if it's Arby's, or if it's Sonic. I hope you guys had lunch before coming in here. And then we're gonna go ahead and have this be a string value. And I'm gonna have it be a list. So here, Taco Bell, we can get what a crunch wrap supreme. We can get a soft taco, or we could go ahead and get, let's say, bean burrito. Plus Arby's. We've got the gyros now, I think, right? Gyros, there we go. French melt. And then roast beef, duh. Sonic, we love our mozzarella sticks. Maybe we want a burger. Or we want the chicken tenders. I'm gonna save it off of here. Places. I want to output these results now though. We'll have the results come through, press save, and then run through. All right, so that comes through as choices. I'm just going to do one for right now. Let's go ahead and get one working before I work on the next one here. I'm going to update these inputs. This is coming from form inputs. I want to save this right now. We're going to go ahead and choose that form input just a second. It's right here, all places. Give a label real quick so that way I understand what's coming through here. And now this guy here. We'll go ahead and edit that source and make sure now that we have that information coming through. My goodness. You think it was a Monday? I can't type very well today. I'm gonna go ahead and press save. Let's see what this broken dependency is. Okay. Give us just a second here. I have a funny feeling that I am missing our step or two. So we will go ahead and try this out first. I like to go ahead and do this in sections. That way I can see what's working properly versus what isn't here. And in the meantime, while it's debugging, I'll go ahead and check again on the Q&A and chat. So here, we're gonna do the dropdown value change. There. We're gonna go ahead and add in that form. It's gonna kill me unless I align real quick, so I apologize. And then we'll go ahead and do this in session, so that is good there. Let's go ahead and debug. So if I go ahead and choose Taco Bell, add data. No, it's not populating, so we need it to actually come through this external here. Go ahead and edit that. Real quick, I didn't check while we were going through. All right, we're going to do that one now. Can you make an input source for the dropdown menu via flow? I think that's exactly what I'm doing, so I think I'm answering that as well too before I even read it. All right, so what we need here is coming into this the input from the form itself. The other idea that I might go ahead and dabble in is having that active form flow, just because I really like active form flows. So we may also go ahead and try that here in just a second too. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if we have any choices to add inputs into the data. No, okay. So let me try the flow ID just real quick. Instead of here, let's go ahead and try the, no. So I know for active form flows, we can actually do form data and then process it in that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and test out a active form flow. Yeah, let's go ahead and try that. And panelists, if you guys have any thoughts or comments at any time, feel free to come off mute or go ahead and add in the chat too. So we're going to drop down that truth table. Boop. All right, so it's looking like the form data is only going to give me choices. That is not what I'm wanting. I'm not going to be under flow data. All right, so this may be something on the form itself. So real quick, I'm going to back out here, just make sure I actually gave this a name. Okay, so the name should be places. Try that again. If I could go ahead and set this as form control. No, this is only bringing in stuff for the data repeater itself. So I'm going to try an active form flow outside of the data repeater. And see if it starts giving me what I need here. Again, bring in that truth table here. Gonna pick it. Places. Okay, cool. Show my outputs as results. This is gonna be my on. Nope, still can't spell today. It's okay. Save. And then what I'll do is go ahead and have it on places. So I'm going to do both the selection change to stop typing. I'll go ahead and do run at startup. Now let's see if I can go ahead and bring in form data inside of here for this drop down. I feel like this should be a drop down for us to choose from. Text. And again, we don't have. Okay. What do we have? Entrees. No, this is what I apologize. Go back. fails to string. I'm gonna go ahead and save this real quick. Because we need to go ahead and make inside the data structure for the entrees to be a string. Actually, instead of going all the way out here, I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate my tab. We're not gonna go ahead and break that lock, but we are gonna go ahead and change our choices configurations. Here. Go ahead and make this a list. Save it out. I might take a second for the code to compile here. So we'll come back into this form. My apologies. So I'm going to go ahead and repick from data here. A flow to populate that drop down. So are you guys using? Okay. When we do the flow to go ahead and populate that drop down, coming in here, it doesn't allow for the option for anything other than the given inputs. So we would actually have to have the input right here. So what if we had Reddit active workflow that would have saved this, but then you need to save it every time. That creates too much data. Is there a particular reason you want to flow to populate this versus trying to do the active form flow? Because I was thinking we could go ahead and set this value control. In your places, you choose a database table that would change source for your repeater. We can give it a shot, sure. All right, so you said here. So for like the input value, you have it as a database table. Is that what you're saying? For the drop down outside of the repeater? Could be static, okay. So the places can be static, like we've got that. But selection defines which database table to call inside of the data repeater to populate the dropdown. So like inside of here, we have the edit sources and on the properties panel right now. I have the form data input as that data structure. Is this where you're talking about the database table? So you're talking about this flow ID? Maria, I wish that there was a way we could go ahead and see him so we could just have him come off mute and kind of describe it to us that way. I'm sorry, whoever's kind of asking these different questions that we aren't able to see in the webinar. It does make it a little bit harder, I'm sure, to go ahead and type in all these questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the anonymous is coming from because I don't see them register under panelists or attendees.
All good.
So
But selection defines which database table call inside the repeater populate the dropdown. There's a flow that we run to populate dropdown inside of the data repeater. So you have it set up as an input source of flow. Are you saying for the inputs of this flow, you choose the data structure for the place itself? Like the choices place? Because then we would need, if you're using it that way, what we would need to do is basically have like an active form flow that would save out the update every time we changed changed an answer in the dropdown. Because I see that we've got a few more panelists that have joined, just that way everybody understands the question here. So what's happening is the question was, can we rerun a flow that populates inside, rerun a flow that populates. So basically from here, this dropdown, as this changes, they want to be able to rerun a flow that's going to affect a dropdown inside this data repeater. So based on the selection here, it's going to go ahead and update a dropdown inside here. He does have the outside, or he or she, my bad, does have the selection out here in the input source as static for this dropdown out here. And then the edit source inside here, we're running based off of a flow. All right, so input to this flow should be selected place. And we need to re-render repeater instance on selection changes. Okay, correct. So that's why I'm thinking active form flow. But if we could have the edit flow ID, hang on just a second. Let me finish what I was doing with that set controls and see if we can actually have a List of choices. Oop, it's going to select entrees here. We'll do first. It's not gonna like that. All right, so let's go ahead and just do entrees in general. Because expecting to have a data as choices.
So he's trying to bring a list of sources or a list of choices into a drop down inside of the data repeater based on the place that's chosen above. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
And if we go ahead and do this active form flow here, in order to go ahead and set the input value inside here, it's got to be a database structure because that's what we've chosen. Unless probably gonna break. I don't have too much faith, but if we go ahead and do our active form flow now, I'm just gonna go ahead and redo that part so we can start from fresh. We won't put that yet. I saw it and so I was wondering what it would do. Form control for entrees. Form control data. So it's not gonna like it there either. Thought I'd try a string value and see if it would populate that way instead. It's gonna have to be from a flow here.
Hmm.
Input type for repeater. Is it gonna like that instead, maybe? We can try. If we're not able to figure this out in the call, if you feel comfortable with it, and would like to go ahead and place down your information so that we can go ahead and follow up with you via email, or you want to go ahead and place a ticket with support. I think either way will work for us to go ahead and if it's not myself or anybody on this call, for at least support to go ahead and get with you and walk through the steps with you as well. If you do place a ticket inside support, pick input or I don't want to update places. If you do input a ticket with support, I can go ahead and reach out to support and kind of tell them what's going on there too. Because I want it to be the data
It
repeater.
seems like it's doable, but the fact that it's nested inside of the data repeater is
what makes it complicated.
complicated. Yeah, because we do the same thing in our demo environment, but that's just without the data repeater.
Yeah. So, but it's looking for selected item be like line 1, 2, 3. That's the number. Okay. All right, hold on. Ignore. Type this over. Kevin, in case you couldn't tell, I'm hungry again. I mean, it's nothing new. I'm always hungry, right?
Yeah,
All right, so right now it's type text. So from form control at all. What does this do?
I'm gonna look on
Documentation.
inside of our, no, I'm gonna look inside of our demo environment to see if I can
Oh yeah.
see what. That is definitely a part of that.
Ashley, what do you have populating the choices list? Is it coming from a database?
So this is just the name. I did right here to where it's just form data coming through. If I were to go ahead and pick something else, I could hold on. And you were just at the input type as a string.
Mhm.
So I did choices earlier as a data structure. It's just an entity that should be flowing through.
Mhm.
We'd have to change this over here back to the entity. So like we could do entree right here.
Mhm.
But our hurdle right now is being able to have inputs into the data repeater. That's not a data structure. Otherwise, one thing we may be able to work around this with is on the form itself, we could have a active form flow that's saving this into the data structure every time the value changes. And then we're pulling it from a data structure or from that data structure inside of the data repeater. But I feel like that would be pretty bulky, especially when it comes to memory. And if we're having that save every time this is changed to an update down this here, I feel like there should be a better way that's a little bit more streamlined and leaner to do that.
What version are you running? Not you actually, but I guess assume it's VT asking questions.
I did give him the privilege to come off mute. I don't know that it's VT. It says it's an anonymous member.
Okay. Yeah,
That kind of makes it a little bit hard too, as we can't really ask those direct questions without a whole bunch of typing happening on the other side there.
yeah. What version are they running? Because that could make a difference too with whether or not they have access to the active form flows. Because if not, then you can run it down to legacy. And what was done for the other form that we're performing, kind of the same logic, is doing a string match step, and then from there doing a create data with the specific places or however they wanted that information to come into the data repeater.
So like here, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that guy. Legacy, I'm gonna guess they did data flows.
Yeah,
You said they did a string match.
yeah. So you can do like a place match or something, whatever it is, and just create a new one.
Update inputs. That would be nice. Okay, cool. Yep. See, I just liked the active form flow so much that I don't come down to legacy anymore. I feel like this is a lot better process. We can go ahead and set that input. I'm gonna try this out 2 ways. I know you said string match, but I've already got this truth table ready for us.
Gotcha.
So I wonder if it could go ahead and run through that truth table as well too. My output results. Update inputs. String here. From form component, yeah. Nope. I feel like that is coming from the data repeater, but we will see here.
But you want it to come from your places drop down.
Mhm. Type text plus one input. Nope. I don't feel like this is the same thing we chose for places.
That is, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, that's the one you chose.
Let's try it. All right, so actually the truth table may be the problem. So let's go and do Kevin's way real quick without the truth table. Let's do the legacy flow with the match string steps. Legacy, there we go. Gotcha. All right, backwards. String to match, Taco Bell. Did it have those three different outcomes?
So yeah, what you would do, depending on how you're setting this up, you would the place for the string match, those would be the places. And then
Mhm.
so if it's Taco Bell, then you have maybe taco and crunch wrap. And if it's McDonald's, you have burger and as far
Yeah.
as what will populate inside of the data repeater. So if
I
you
saw
have
that
a list of restaurants and the places drop down, then that's what this step would take in. And then from there, you would like for that crunch wrap piece, crunch wrap path, you would have a create data step after that, attach that path to that, and then you can pass out from there your list of items from that particular place or that particular restaurant. So for the string, go
Gotcha,
back to the
gotcha.
string match. Yeah.
So this would be places here. Sorry. I was also
Yeah,
reading
exactly.
too. We got another little comment blurb from them here. The biggest issue we have is that how to recreate instances of the repeater when selection changes, so flow inside the repeater instance reruns with new selected place. So keeping them separate. So you can go ahead and keep adding on to that data repeater as the drop down selection changes.
Is that because it's coming from a database table?
Are you asking me that question, Mark, or
Mhm.
the attendee?
Both?
So
Because it sounds like that it's
What's
more dynamic and you're creating something that's static.
yeah, if it's coming through that way, with even the path that we're on, it's probably gonna go ahead and update every single time for the entire data repeater.
Right.
Now, saying that, my next question is there a particular reason why that drop down that's going to be affecting the drop down side of the data repeater is outside of the data repeater? I guess I probably should have asked that a while ago. Just design. Okay. I'm wondering if it would be easier to have that a part of the data repeater so you can have one drop down affect the next, especially if we want it to just affect that one line. Yeah, I'm just gonna do two here. I'm not gonna like choices. All right, I'm just gonna do one here. Let's get one working first. And if we do run out of time, go ahead and be sure to go ahead and place your email in here. I'll keep working on this and see if we can get up and running, or we can go ahead and do a Zoom or a support ticket, like I said before. Oh yes, I do have some marks in here. So we're gonna go ahead and do okay. All right, we're gonna get rid of the ones. There we go. Okay. When you say repeater instances, so the question is, I know how to change that drop down, but don't know how to rebuild all repeater instances in the most efficient way. So our instances, are you saying like every time you do a new add data for the repeater? Is that what you mean by instances? Yes. Okay. So you would, in my mind, the way I kind of can process that per se is you'd basically need the first line to stop looking at the flows you're running for that update. Before I can get you there though, I do need the form workings that way I can work off of that next. So let's try one thing at a time here.
I don't think you updated your inputs.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's why I just came back from the. I was thinking the same thing, Kev.
Output is choices. Yeah, go in and click on the pencil for your flow inputs. Yeah, that's still the wrong.
I'm not bringing the places text box.
What do you have it named as? What is that name? That's places.
Places.
Let's see.
Because I see it down here, so why isn't it bringing it in the input section?
Places. Do you have a space or something on your string match step? Extra
Possibly.
space or something?
Yeah, let's see. Sure
Yep.
do. Right. And then objects if they're the same. It looks like decisions trying to compare objects and if they're the same. Okay. So I can definitely keep working on this. Like I said, if you can drop down an email or something, then we can go ahead and follow up. We are coming up at the end of time, and I don't think we're going to be able to resolve this by the end of the hour here. I do apologize. I do want to go ahead and get this resolved for you, though. So again, please be sure to go ahead and either submit that support ticket and or drop down the email too. I just want to see it render here. Cool, it creates that data. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and debugging that from outside of here. So we can at least get one thing down. Nope. It's still something the inputs here. Because we can't choose
Yeah, because
places.
it can. Yeah.
Yep. It may also help too, whoever the anonymous attendee is, to go ahead and get in a Zoom call with you and make sure that we've got everything lined up the way that you're doing it to make sure that we give you the correct response back. As far as having the each time we add data for the data repeater, it being separate, I feel like that would be either saving it off the data or having an active form flow that would actually stop the previous dropdown from looking at the new flow that would be affecting it. So that may be a little bit different. But I have to be able to have that drop down populating before I can help on the next step here. So I do apologize that it's taken a little bit of time.
And also to make sure that they choose value, to run it on value change for their places. Drop down as well. So that every time that value is changed, it'll rerun it, run that flow to update it.
But that will do it for like, so if they do add data for like here, basically what they're saying is that they won't be able to choose a place, add data, and that affects this drop down. if they add another data and go ahead and choose like Arby's, this would have a different set of options and this would remain the same.
Gotcha.
Mhm. Oh, they said no. Oh, so you want it, if we have the selection here, then it continues down with this right here. So we go ahead and have, okay, oh, okay, so we just need to go ahead and set this up here. We don't need it to have it stagnate. Okay, that's, there we go. So as long as we can get this working, we're good. All right, so. Oh, interesting, now it doesn't have an input of places. Okay. Why not? So what will happen is once we have this working correctly, every time we press add data, it will, or it should. Is it, but the fact that you're on here, do you have it working correctly to where you want it to where as soon as you come in here and do the debug, it populates those drop downs inside the data repeater for you? Yes, okay. And when you do another add data, it's not populating the information for the next one? It does. Okay. Do you mind restating your question that you started with then? So we have a data repeater with a drop down. This based on our selection here, the drop down, we want it to affect a drop down inside of a data repeater. And when you change the selection here as previous values for the stuff down here that you've already entered in the past. And that is or is not what you want them to do. Okay, I do think we're gonna have to go ahead and end this call, so that Sabrina can go ahead and get over to the next call, Sabrina or Maru. So let's go ahead and if you have a second here, make sure you type in your email real quick to me, and then we'll have to go ahead and log out for this meeting here, just so I can go ahead and follow up with you. Or again, like I said, submit that support ticket there. All right, everybody, that's gonna have to conclude our lunch and learn today. Again, I'll go ahead and see if we can follow up with whoever's asking this question here for that drop down. Have a great Thursday, everybody.